Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Your Spiritual Journey. This is Dr. Bob, and this is the space and the place where we talk about things important to your soul. And as always, we ask you to subscribe, like us, leave comments if you wish. As I mentioned in a previous podcast, we are planning a trip to Bali in May of 2026. So if that's something that might interest you to come along with a few light workers and those people who will lift your energy and lift your spirits, just go to the website, yourspiritualjourneypodcast.com, and leave a comment that you're interested in hearing more about that trip, and we'll be happy to send you the information. So today's guest is someone I met at the conference in Scottsdale, Arizona that I have mentioned previously to you. Jana Dean is a master hypnotist and life coach. She started her career journey working with athletes on mindset 15 years ago and expanded to hypnosis in 2020. Hypnosis opened a whole new world for Jana and her clients. By connecting to the subconscious mind, blocks that had been present for years dissolved, and clients were able to take their lives to a new level, one that aligns with their true selves. Jana knows that when people connect to the authentic parts of themselves, growth and expansion happen, as well as peace. Jana feels in her authentic self through this work. She spent most of her life knowing that there was something more that she wanted with her career. She tried her hat in many roles, from a nurse to a stay-at-home mom to party planner, and when coaching entered her life, she knew that this was what she was made to do and to be. She loves her clients and being able to be a support system in their healing and growth. So, this is Jana. Hi, Jana. She's
Hello,
on the West
everybody.
Coast,
Hello.
out there in California.
Washington State. Washington
Oh,
State, the
Washington
rainy
State.
state.
I'm sorry.
The green state. Yeah, that's okay. No worries. Got to represent Washington here.
Somewhere out on that West Coast. So, Jana, as you know, we'll start with your telling your story of your spiritual journey, and then I'll pepper you with questions. So,
I love it.
the
That's
mic's all
great. That's
yours.
good. Well, thank you. This is so great that I get to be here with you. So I was thinking how grateful I am that you have created space for this important work that you're doing as well. So thank you for that.
Well, I
You know,
enjoy it thoroughly.
it's
It's a
good.
lot of fun. I get to talk to people
Yeah,
like you.
right? And it feels good to be in that alignment, doesn't it? It really does.
It does.
To be in
Yeah.
that spirit filled space. Okay, so my spiritual journey, I was reflecting after you sent me the email to it made me start thinking about, let's see, I was raised in a Christian home. And so from ages probably 0 to, I'd say probably in my 30s, that was kind of that belief system that was set up for me.
Uh-huh.
And there were a lot of wonderful things about that belief system, but then there were a lot of things that I can just remember sitting in church thinking, about this, just that feeling of something was off for me. That's just how it felt. And I think it was probably that dichotomy of, love, and then it kind of moved into fear. If you do
Yeah.
these things. So there was a lot of questions that started to come up. And I think I think my whole life there was the questions, because I've always kind of been a seeker and wanted to know the why behind everything.
Yeah.
That's a Sagittarius in me, that philosopher that wants to go deeper and seek. I'm so grateful. I did, because it opened up a whole new world for me, to where I could really tap into that knowing and that trust. And even the things I gained from that time in my life, from growing up that way, like the love, the trust, the faith, the hope, the
Mhm.
kindness, compassion, all of those things are so beautiful. Like I said, I've always loved the energy of Jesus because it was about love, forgiveness, and healing. And those are honestly
Yeah.
some of my very favorite things in life. So to be able to be born into that and have that just a part of my world and really in my system, I'm really, really grateful for that. And I'm also grateful for the time when the seeking started to happen so that I could begin to take those types of energies and make them more what made sense to my soul,
Yeah.
and to not be, to be able to begin to release that fear and to move more into that true, authentic love. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it all began for me. And it just keeps going. I mean, we keep learning and it keeps going,
Yeah. Was
you
there any
know.
particular event in your 30s that sparked that seeking, or was it just something that had built up over time?
Mm-hmm. You know what it was? It's having kids.
Ah,
It was having
okay.
kids and then creating that same pattern, the same belief system and taking it into and taking him to church. And my son, I think he was probably 5 or 6, and we were in the car ride home from this church that we hadn't gone to. It was much. And he says, Mom, I learned 2 new S words today. And I was like, oh, what? And he's like, sin and Satan.
Oh,
So that right there kind of began, okay, hold up here. We got to do something a little bit different. And so I think that was the beginning of, I don't know if it was the beginning, but it struck a chord with me that I wanted just something different for my
yeah,
kids. I wanted that big focus of love and compassion and understanding. And I think oftentimes we really camp out in guilt and shame as humans anyway,
hmm,
just for our experience on this planet and fear.
right,
So, I mean, I think as a mom, that's what was my motivator more than anything.
yeah. So,
Mhm.
what denomination was it that you were raised in?
I was raised in Christian, and I think, yeah, I was raised in Christian, but I've tried different things throughout time, and but yeah, I was raised Christian.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, so what did you do after this revelation? I mean, did you sit down with your son and have a conversation with him about this, or did you just
Oh, I
decide you
bet
were
I
going to?
did. I'm sure I did.
Yeah,
No, I'm sure I mean, I don't really remember. I just remember that was a time, like that was a path. Which path am I going to go down? And I was a big library person back then. I need to do that more. I love the library. It's so good.
yeah,
And I remember walking by this book. I wish I could remember the name. It was something about angels, and I picked it up, and it was more about expanding, you know, my own knowing, like this tapping into this knowing. So it was kind of like, for me, I'm just a student of life. So it was book after book after book,
yeah,
just keep and being whatever I was led to. I used to play this game going into the library or bookstore and being like, okay, where do you want me to go? What do you want me to find today? And so it would be kind of like that. It was just fun, bringing
yeah.
some fun into it. And each one would lead me to the next. And that to me is the fun of it.
So, when you say, where do you want me to go? Who
Mm-hmm.
is that you're talking to?
Think at that time it was probably God. And it's still, I mean, the creator, or, whatever we
Yeah,
want to call it. My divine team, I like to call them now. I feel like we all have a divine support system around us
uh-huh.
at all times. They're just cheering us on, working hard for us. So, yeah.
No, I got you. I got a whole team of
Yeah.
spirit guides working with me.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think they're going like, oh, she's doing that again. She's doing that
yeah.
again.
No,
Yeah. But,
that's how
and
that's.
yeah. Recently, my husband and I did a candlelight service this last Christmas. And that's probably the first time I've really been back into a church, but it was an Episcopalian church. And there was so much beauty and It's like this beautiful cathedral and the choir. And so I was able to really go into it with fresh eyes,
Yeah.
with not that heaviness. Because I think my 30s and 40s, I'm 55, so mid 50s now, were really about creating my own path. So
Uh-huh.
you kind of push everything away while you're trying to
Right.
rework it all. So it was really kind of wonderful to be able to go back into that and sit with it and feel the beauty and not necessarily receive everything if it wasn't a match, but allow,
Right.
without that contraction, that tightness around it.
Yeah.
It feels more expansive now.
Or the need to
Yeah.
critique it and
Yes.
and say,
Yes.
yeah, I
Yeah.
believe this. No, I don't believe that. Yeah, this is good. No, that's not
Yeah.
good. You know, you can
For
you can
sure.
just sit
For
back and
sure.
enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
I
that
think so.
for sure.
I think so. Yeah.
So the delving into hypnosis. So from what I
Mm-hmm.
understand from your bio is that you were already doing coaching, life coaching with
Mm-hmm.
mainly
Yes.
with athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it that said, okay, I need another tool in my toolbox to make this work out
Mm-hmm.
better? What
Mm-hmm.
what
What it
took place there?
was, yeah, the training that I went through for my certification for the mental performance coaching, I didn't realize this at the time, but the man, his name's Craig Sigel, he had gone through hypnosis training, and he never, I think he might
Uh,
have shared it, I can't really remember. But what he had done for our framework for each one of our coaching sessions, he created this beautiful outline. At the end of each one, he would call them guided visualizations. And so I
uh,
began to see, so each session, each training that I did with a client, there would be it's scripted guided visualization at the end, whether it was on building confidence or connecting to the love of the sport, or like a parts therapy where you have a goal side and a resistance side. And I think what I saw is that's where the real change work for people was happening. The talking was
yeah,
great. I mean, I love a beautiful conversation and then uncovering blocks that have been there consciously. But the change work was happening on the subconscious level.
yeah,
And so that made me like open up, okay, wait, I want to do more of this. This is more of what I want to do. And just by chance, I ended up going through the same training that he did, not even knowing that that was the training that he had had. It was 5 path hypnosis, which is more of a, oh, I don't want to say therapy, but kind of like a therapeutic approach
right.
to going in and really dissolving and neutralizing the original reason that we have the behavior over here.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I did. Went into more
Yeah.
of an intensive during COVID. That's what I did during COVID
Uh,
online.
Yeah, I've been getting that feeling from so many people I've talked to that COVID gave them the chance, the opportunity to step back and really look at things that they wanted to do that they never had time to do, and suddenly they had this big block of time and
Yes.
freedom, freedom
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
delve into things that they hadn't had time to do before.
Yes.
So that's,
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
gifts of COVID that many
Yes.
people took
The
advantage of.
pause. There was a great big pause in there, wasn't there? So, yeah, great
Definitely.
big pause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about your educational background? What got
Mm,
you into this to begin with, and where did you go to school, and
sure. Yeah.
what's that about?
I did nursing school right out of high school. I went into college and went through nursing school, and that was fine. But I feel like back then, like there seemed like there was a handful of degrees that I don't know, like were in my head, or career paths, I should say. So it was like
Yeah.
nurse, teacher, um, hairstylist, these kind of basics. But so I thought, okay, I love people, I love helping people, I love healing work. So I went into nursing, but it just was not, it wasn't in alignment. And looking back, even in nursing school, um, I was really fatigued all the time. It just wasn't like lightening up
No.
my spirit. It was very,
Yeah.
very heavy in a different way. So, but I did nursing for years, mostly office nursing. But my favorite part was the teaching part and the one-on-one.
Uh-huh.
So I think I was kind of always, I don't think, I know I was always being guided, but I feel like, and then I just feel like is if you pay attention and get back on track, even if something's not working, and
Yeah.
get back on track, then you end up landing, you land,
Uh-huh.
you're supposed to.
So you feel pretty
Yeah,
good about the place that you've landed in now?
I really do. I really do. I think I read Martha Beck's Finding Your North Star book. And she
Uh-huh.
had this really great exercise in there where you would write down 3 times in your life where you felt really energized, and then 3 times in your life where you felt really fatigued and exhausted.
Uh-huh.
And I think at that time I was even considering, I'd had a break from nursing because I stayed home with my kids. And then I was thinking, oh, I'll just do the smart thing and go back to school and do further education in nursing. But once I did that exercise, the times that I was fatigued were nursing school, working at the doctor's office. It's where my energy just felt depleted all the
Yeah.
time. It didn't feel light. And then the things that yours put to where your energy would lighten up, or where you felt energized, I put
Uh-huh.
it was deep talk and parties. Those were my 2 areas in my life where I would feel just really energized and excited and,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
So have you gotten into any energy work? I know that
Mm-hmm.
some nurses end up doing Reiki, some
Mm-hmm.
delve into getting
Yeah.
certified to administer ketamine. There's all different kinds of
Oh,
things.
yeah. Yeah, I think those are great healing modalities for sure. I'm not certified in anything. One of my mentors, the one I was telling you, I feel like he needs to be a guest for you, Howard Beatty. He does a type of energy work called transcalar healing. And I have
Uh-huh.
a bunch of his books on my shelf, and they've been calling to me. So I think you're probably prompting me to right now to like open those books up and and check them out. But I think naturally during a hypnosis session, if I have a client that say is holding a lot of energy in their body, because I'll ask them where the energy is.
Yeah.
And if it's not releasing just through the work that we're doing, it's a kind of a type of energy work that I mean, I've probably heard it somewhere, honestly. I don't want to take credit for it, but we'll do a energy bubble and we'll take that kind of the remnants of whatever's left and we'll put it into that bubble and we move it to the light for healing.
Uh-huh.
And then we allow that space then that's open to be filled now with whatever that client wants to claim, whether it's peace or freedom or calm or, whatever it is, we'll put it back in there. So it's a type of energy work
Yeah.
that we're doing, but not like hands-on energy work or anything like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just reading this morning that there are at least 50 different modalities of energy work. So
Yes.
there's a whole spectrum of ways to do
Mm-hmm.
this. So when you talked about putting those things in a bubble and releasing them, is this while they're under hypnosis, or is this just a
Mm-hmm.
visualization exercise? What?
This is while they're in hypnosis.
Okay.
And it always cleans it up. I'm telling you, it's so amazing, once because there's parts of ourselves that, well, it's the protective part of ourselves in that subconscious mind that this pattern, if you will, has it started from a place of love and protection, mostly
Uh-huh.
protection, honestly. So it's been with this person for a really long time,
Yeah, sure.
so when we just even though everybody they want the change and they're coming to me because they want the change, that change can feel different.
Yeah.
It can feel empty. Like so there's oftentimes this, oh, but please don't let me go. Just let me hang just a little bit. Let me just, hang out here for a little bit. I'll
Right.
do this. So we work on really opening that up And that's why it's so important to reclaim something in its place.
Yeah.
And then it's getting familiar with that reclaiming. I'm doing my chest because a lot of people, that's where they hold it, but it could be your stomach, your head,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
knee. It can be anywhere in the body, but we really want to reclaim that, whatever it is. And everybody's different in what they're claiming,
Yeah.
you know. It always comes up with different things.
So I'm curious in that I've talked to people from two different sides of the fence. One is we need to get in there and figure out the root cause of this, and whether it's in your childhood or previous lifetime or whatever initiated this particular situation within you, and it becomes a pattern because you're holding on to it for so long.
Yeah.
And there's another side that says we don't need to know where it came from. All we need to do is help you release whatever it is, because that's the important
Mm-hmm.
piece, is the release,
Yeah.
not really identifying where it came from.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
side do you sit on in those
I
two?
see both. I really do. I
Uh,
get that. I really do get that. And I mean, I'm going to be just completely transparent. There have been times, especially when I first started doing it, that I'm like, like, is this really what they need? You know, can we move forward quicker? Because I'm all about, I like ease and flow and, all
yeah.
of those types of things. But what I do now is I have a bunch of different kinds of hypnosis as well, like a spiritual journey and hypnosis that I do as well. So there'll be an intake for the client, and then we come up together what modality is going to work best. There are people, I mean, I'm a little bit of a detective and investigator for myself, so I love the root cause, because if it can make sense to me, then I'm going to move forward. But there's some people that might not be in alignment with. So I'm super open to all of it. I do
Yeah.
understand both sides of it.
Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you take somebody back to the root cause, it's a traumatic experience,
Yeah.
and they don't want to
Well,
deal
the
with that
way that,
trauma again.
yeah. Well, and here's what I call it. We I really I feel like very confident in five path and in the ability to be able to, what I do with clients, because if it's an age regression, I call it dipping my toe in. We go in, we dip our toe in, we get the information, we go back. We dip, and so the information would be the feeling, and is it familiar? So then we can move back into the very first time. And that's where the neutralizing, there's a lot of power in it, because the older self goes in and talks to that younger self and gives it
Uh-huh.
everything that it needs. So it's just beautiful to witness. I'm not kidding you. It's just, I don't know, like, and then they bring that little one into their heart. So it's done in a very beautiful way that's safe. It's safe.
Uh-huh.
It's a very safe way to do it. So, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And those, for clients, they have all the power, so they're not going to move into anything that they're not going to want to move into. Usually people that come through my door are people that are there because of it, and they want to make the change
Yeah.
and discover that change.
Speaking of
Mm-hmm.
coming through your door, you're in Washington. Does that
Yes.
does that mean you only work with clients from the Washington area? Do you ever
Oh no,
do,
I do Zooms and
so you
mm-hmm.
do distance work
Yeah.
also?
Yep. Mm-hmm. It works too. COVID did that. Like, it taught us all a new way of being able to connect
Yeah.
with people. Mm-hmm.
So you actually do hypnosis over Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. I just have to be able to see you. So I can look at your eyes.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
what method do you use to put somebody under?
We just, it's an induction, just a relaxation induction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Feels good. There's all different ways to do it, but it's just a relaxation
Yeah.
induction. And it's, you know what it is? It's getting people familiar with the feeling because a lot of people don't feel like they are in hypnosis. It's just a very relaxed state.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people, and I mean, honestly, I think 15 years ago, I went to an hypnotist, my mentor, Howard, years ago, and um, I had all these expectations, right, of what it was going to feel like and that I'd be in a trance state and I wouldn't have any control. But it's such a relaxed state that you just are kind of chill.
Yeah.
You're still aware of everything that's going on. Have you ever been in hypnosis?
I have not, uh, but
Yeah.
I'm intrigued enough by it uh,
Mm-hmm.
to consider doing it for a past life regression.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Mm-hmm.
done that?
I think you and I, when we were at the conference, I shared this with you that so five path tends to be more this lifetime,
Uh-huh.
like
Right.
let's work on, because then that's that domino effect. However, I will say this, I've had people spontaneously regress and go there.
Yeah.
Like we're in a different year and we're in so then it's like, oh, okay. And it's happened enough to where I'm like, okay, I know what we're doing here. So
Yeah.
you're really dipping into these lifetimes or this lifetime, these ages to gather the information that's going to help that person move forward in a new way. And that really does it's just such beautiful work because it's clearing all these generations and future generations.
Right.
So it's work. It's big commitment, big work that we're doing here.
Well, and when you say that, clearing it here from the past and clearing it in the future, uh,
Mm-hmm.
that leads me to what I've come to believe after reading a lot, uh, is that actually there is no past life, that
Yeah.
all these lives are simultaneous, that there isn't no such, there isn't anything uh, that is time related. Like time is just a
Mm-hmm.
construct that we made up.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, all
Yeah.
time is the same time. There is only now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
is that a belief that you've come to? I mean, that's what I heard.
Sure.
Just from
Yeah.
your words, it sounded like,
Yeah.
sure, we
Yeah.
can fix this in the past, in the present, and in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if it's a belief. I think I'm very open to the idea of
Uh-huh.
all of it because I don't know 100% on any of it, but I'm very, very open to, especially for whatever the client is experiencing,
Yeah.
because it's real what they're experiencing. So I'm here to sit back and facilitate it and support and whatever that looks like. One of my first clients that spontaneously regressed was a really strong Christian woman. And so she was, and I think I was always raised that that isn't real, blah, blah, blah. But it was really cool to see that for her, the healing work that happened
Uh-huh.
from going into the previous life to be able to move her forward in a new way. Yeah, it was great.
So how did she
Yeah.
feel about that?
She was good. Well, because it was real to her.
Okay.
She was experiencing her life that she knew and she was connected to this person and she understood. And yeah, it was amazing. It really was.
Yeah.
And then I had a couple of clients within a week of each other. This was really amazing, um, where they both spontaneously regressed. But then in their lives, between lives, because generally you'll take them to the end of their life,
Hmm.
and then they move on. And they both did the exact same thing. So I'm like, oh wow, this is just interesting, and it was more than interesting. It was like I'm like, oh, this is so cool. But, that's really the feeling. Like this is
Yeah.
just so cool. So, but they had what I recognized though is in these both of these experiences, they were in such peace after their previous life and the in between. And then they were both in this really bright place of light. And um, as they were getting ready to emerge down into the body, into the infant, into the
Uh-huh.
womb, it was really hard and they didn't want to come.
Uh,
They were like, oh, pump the brakes, pump the brakes, pump the brakes. But what was so beautiful about it is we were able to do almost like it wasn't an age regression, a regression to their why. What was the agreement that was made? Now bring that with you into coming into being human,
yeah.
into the human form. And then how can that open up your life in a new way? So because I think it's just Earth is a heavier planet.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of work to be done here for people.
So you were able to actually get them to figure out what their agreement was.
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, they did it. I mean, I just asked questions. I'm just, facilitating
Yeah.
the questions, but mm-hmm. Because I think we all within us really do know. We know what
Yeah.
we're here to do. We do. It's just oftentimes because we're busied with life and all the things, there's ways that it's always external rather than really pausing and going within. Pause and go within, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And so the hypnosis or any kind of, healing modality work, these workshops that we go to and attend, they're a way to reconnect us to ourselves. That's still external, but there's something happening within us that's like, oh
Yeah.
yes, there's that reminder. I do know this. This is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting at
Yeah.
that workshop with the four different presenters. Uh, and just for the audience, it was Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Sue Mortar, and Anita Morjani. Uh, there were 500 people in the audience, and you don't expect everybody there to connect with each person and what they had to say, but you can guarantee
Yeah.
that everybody there connected with at least one of them and what they had to say
Yeah.
that
Yes.
that triggered something in them. It was like being in the energy of love for three
Yeah.
days, and
Yeah.
with that many people expressing that energy all at the same time, it is
It's
an amazing
beautiful.
experience. Yeah, yeah,
It really is. And that, I mean, I just truly feel that that really is it. And that we can have that, even if we're not in the masses like that. It just feels really great because everybody's on that same page, right?
yeah,
But we can have it in our smaller moments throughout the day too. How can I connect to love in this moment? How can I connect to the trees, to the
right.
flowers, and like one thought I was having just recently for myself is the slowing
Mm,
down, all of it, just slowing down and really. And I'm talking like, because my parents live right across the driveway from me. So I buzz over there for coffee every morning.
oh
But
my,
it's always just this really brisk walk, like this brisk walk. I'm always on a mission, get that coffee or whatever. But I'm learning it's just slowing it down, slowing those motions down, stopping and listening to those birds just for a couple seconds
yeah.
to connect with that part of ourselves that ignites the knowing.
Well, what I find so beautiful about you is your ability to be so open to your clients that you don't seem to come in with any preset notion or approach, and you allow them to lead the way, and
Yeah,
and you you seem to learn a lot from your clients,
I do. I
and
do.
to
Yeah.
be that open is a beautiful thing.
Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you for
Well,
saying that. Yeah.
it
I
just
love my clients.
it,
And they
yeah,
know. They do. They know what they need. I can have the framework and the structure around it, which creates the safety.
uh-huh,
That creates safety for them to feel safe within that moment, to be
right.
able to do what they're want, their
Yeah.
soul's desiring moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful thing, and
Thank you.
I feel
Thank
your
you.
energy of love and openness, and it's just so nice.
Thank you. It's so sweet.
So your husband's a lucky guy.
Appreciate that. Oh, I'll tell him. He's a good one. I got a good one. He's funny and he's kind. That was I'm like, okay, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. Tell him no.
He just checked off those two boxes, and that's all you needed,
Yeah,
huh?
it did. It works. It works. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, so how does he feel? I guess I don't want to say how does he feel about you. I imagine he loves you very much, but with the work
Yeah.
that you do and probably some of the conclusions you've come to about life and the universe
Hmm.
and all that there is, uh, does
Yeah.
he feel to you like he's aligned with your thoughts and your feelings around these things?
Yes, it's just that's been an interesting process or journey as
Uh-huh.
well, because I think when I was in my 30s and I was even 40s, I think when you're questioning things, you really want a team
Yeah.
around you that's like, oh, yes, yes, yes. And so I think because he was a part of my team and he was raised as I was,
Uh-huh.
he was, in fact, we went to the same church growing up. And I
Oh,
remember
okay.
seeing him. Not they didn't not for long. I mean, but I remember this moment of passing him in the hallway. He's a redhead, so you kind of always remember the redheads, and thinking, "Oh, there's David Dean. There's David Dean." So it's interesting moments where these connections, right, are made, and then further on down the road, didn't know him any time after that. We end up getting married, but um, I think I wanted him to believe what I believed, my discoveries. I
Yeah.
wanted all of that. And so I remember feeling like, oh boy, is this going to work? What if we don't believe the same? What if, just really these questions.
Right.
But as I just kept going and just listening to my own soul, like he didn't, I didn't need him to buy into what I was saying anymore because
Mm.
Dave's living it. Like he lives it.
Yeah.
He lives the love. He lives the kindness. He lives the lightness to life.
Hmm.
But of course, I'm reading, and go, but this, but this, but this. And so it's been a really cool. So now in the 50s, kind of coming through it, I'm like, oh, good, this is great.
Yeah.
It's so much easier now, not
Yeah.
needing the expectation that he has to think the way I do.
Hmm.
Kind of like not having that.
Yeah.
It's kind of boring anyway if we were all thinking the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking that, as you talk about your approach to life, you seem rather intense at times. It would
Excitable,
so it's some
animated with those
combination
hands talking.
of intensity and intention and being open at the same time. And
Yeah.
it's a great thing. It is.
You're so kind. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you talked about having a support system or other people on the same page as you do. Are there groups or organizations that you belong to where you can share and get input from others and provide input to
Yeah.
others? And if so, what are those
Hmm.
organizations?
Um, well, I have the professional ones, with the 5 path hypnosis, being a part of that group. That's just more like an email group though, but you still get a lot of really good nuggets out of that. And then like right now I'm in it's called a cluster for the artist's way. I don't know if you've ever heard of that,
Ah,
but it's a wonderful. Are you doing it or have you done
yes,
it?
I
You
am
have.
facilitating a group through the Artist Way
You
as we
are
speak.
right
Yep,
now?
we met
I'm
last night.
serious, of course.
We meet Monday nights.
Of course you are. See
We're
how it works, everybody.
We're on chapter 9.
Oh, that's amazing. Isn't it cool?
Yes, it
Like, I love it.
is.
Do you love it?
Oh yeah,
I love it so much. I
yeah.
do. I'm learning so much
So
about
where
all
are
of
you
it.
in the book
Just,
at this point?
we're on week five right
Okay,
now.
all right.
Yeah. But I'm a little behind. There's a little, which that's been a good process for me too. This movement of rhythm and being able to see what my patterns are. So it's been really good, deep work.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it to anybody. I kind of want to just keep doing it forever. Like this,
Well,
this would just be good to do
and
all
some
the
people
time.
do. Yeah, there are people who've been working
Yeah,
with this for 30 years and they just keep doing it.
yeah, yeah.
So you do
It's
your morning
wonderful.
pages every
So
day?
that's I've got it all sitting right here. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
It's great. It's very, very powerful work.
Yeah.
It really is.
And
Yeah. So that's kind of right now what I'm doing
yeah.
for the support.
Have you
hmm
noticed additional synchronicities in your life now that you're doing this work?
I think that I love paying attention to the synchronicities of life. I just think it's so cool,
Yeah.
just being able to play with it. So it seems like, yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Whether it's a little sign from, a past loved one or just thinking of somebody and
Uh-huh.
then running into them or just the right book at the right time, whatever it is. I love being able to look for those. That's the magic of life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I guess that's how we got together, right?
it is. It is.
Yeah.
You just turned around and I had seen you on the Facebook group,
Uh,
so I knew a little bit. And then when you mentioned, I'm like, oh, yes, yes. So it worked out. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I actually just got back from West Virginia doing an experience with a licensed nurse with a master's degree who is licensed to use ketamine and administer that
Cool.
in her therapy. Uh, and she agreed to come on the podcast. I had run into
Oh,
her at
great.
Scottsdale, but
Oh, great.
she said, I don't want to talk about what I do until you have experienced it. So I want you to come
Oh,
down here to Shepherdstown, West
oh
Virginia,
my.
to my office and go through an experience. And then when you interview
Yeah.
me, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I just got
Okay.
back from that experience 2 days ago. And
What was that like? Oh, you
yeah,
probably can't tell yet, can you?
anyway,
Oh, wow.
it was pretty amazing. Uh, and it's one way to experience oneness and
Mm-hmm.
really not just talk about it, but actually to say, oh, that's what that feels like. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Oh, that's wonderful.
yeah.
What a great time for you. What a great experience.
Yeah. It was part of my goal to run into at least 10 people at that conference who would agree to
Uh-huh.
come on the podcast.
Oh, that's amazing.
And you were one of my
Set that
10.
intention.
So
Well, thank you. I'm honored. So kind. It's so good. Yeah,
yeah, out of
that's awesome.
500, you were one of the 10. So there.
Okay, look at
you're,
that.
in case you didn't know that you were special before, now you know.
Oh,
Okay, well,
that's
we
great.
are getting to the point in the podcast where I always ask the guest to leave the audience with a few words of wisdom. And
Mhm.
you should be
Yeah,
ready for this
yeah,
if you watched
yeah.
a couple of shows. Uh,
Yes.
so I'm going to give you that opportunity now. Anything that you want to leave the audience with. I didn't ask you to demonstrate how you do hypnosis, because often people are driving in their cars when they're listening to this,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that wouldn't be a good
Yes.
idea.
You're right. Yes. I was going to show a little 1 minute. That's okay. That's okay. We'll
Oh
do
no,
that.
there's
You're right.
time. There's
Okay.
time.
That's a good.
You've got a 1 minute to show.
Well, well, it's a process, and I can link the shoot. Sorry, guys. I can link the I can link the hold on just a second. My sister's calling everybody.
Okay.
Hold on. See, it came through the Facebook feed. Sorry. It's a 1 minute mental practice or self hypnosis. And I
Uh,
can link the PDF. Do you have a way to do it for people that you can share it with everybody?
yes, I've got a website,
Okay.
and under resources, I'll have that link for people.
Okay.
So they can
Okay.
just go to
So
yours. Yeah, they'll
I'll
go to
link that there. And
yourspiritualjourneypodcast.com and go to
okay,
resources, and the link will be there under your name.
perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. So what it is, it's a quick way, and I learned this with my work with athletes, but everybody can do this. If there's anything that you're kind of wanting to invite into your life or even release,
Uh-huh.
it's a way to do a visualization that will connect with that subconscious mind just very quickly. So basically, what you'll do is you'll do a finger drop, just like an index finger drop tap 1 time on your leg, and you visualize a light switch going off at this simultaneously. And then you'll
Uh-huh.
move downstairs. There'll be a count backwards 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to the basement of your mind. And you're going to really allow yourself to feel very, very safe in this space. So it's some place that you want to bring in with all 5 senses that you really feel connected to and safe, because that's the whole thing with the subconscious mind is we
Yeah.
want it to feel safe. And then it's open to receiving the information that's going to be so powerful, to align with what it is that you want.
Now, how do you come out
So
of
whether
this?
you'll count yourself back up, because when you set the intention, it's
Yeah.
just going to feel very relaxed. It's not going to feel tranced out at all.
Okay.
But you'll set the intention to do a 1 minute mental practice or 1 minute self hypnosis. And then what you'll do is you'll really invite in, what is it that you want to experience?
Yeah.
What is it that you want to bring in with you that day? Or it
Okay.
could be a long-term goal, and just really allowing yourself to get into that feeling place with it and how good that feels. And you'll do that for about a minute, and then you'll walk back up the stairs and turn the light switch back on. Now, what will happen is, so I'm just thinking for athletes right now, I'm just going to use that as an example. If they're, say, up to bat and the winning run is on third base, I'll just say that. And they've been practicing being the clutch or the high pressure performer. And they've been practicing that 1 minute with the finger tap.
Yeah.
All they'll need to do is tap their index finger on their leg, and the program kicks in. Like, oh, here we go. We've done this so many times before.
Yeah.
And I've witnessed this time and time again. It works. This 1 minute will work, and it's so quick and it's so simple and it's so easy to do.
Ah.
Everybody has a minute. You can do it in the shower. You can do it when brushing it doesn't matter where you do other than driving, like you said,
Yeah.
Bob. But, so it's really, I get excited about it because I like these kind of, it's kind of the contrast from the 5 path, but it's like quick, simple, we can fit it into everyday life
Yeah.
types of tools. So,
Okay.
yes. And I got you off track on the wisdom a little bit, but
Okay. No, that's good.
yeah. So when I was thinking about the words of wisdom, I was thinking about my Grammy who lived to be 102. And
Uh-huh.
like the last 3 or 4 years of her life, she lived independently till she was 100. And just in watching her, she didn't say this, but just in watching her, she would set goals for her day, just little mini goals, whether it's do the dishes, do the laundry, just little things. but then she always would move into gratitude as well. And
Yeah.
she might be, say, she was a little, how do I describe her? Just a very stoic woman with rules and structure and systems that she felt like were right. A lot of them were, honestly. And then some of them were a little harsh. But what I would see in her is she would share, like maybe be venting about something, but then she would always pull out with some gratitude about how fortunate she is and how lucky she is. And she would
Mm.
always find these ways. So just in watching her in those later years when her health was declining, to be able to witness, oh, these little goals, like setting little mini goals for the day for yourself, whether
Yeah.
that's whatever that is.
Uh-huh.
It can look differently to everybody. So that was a big one. And then more me, my words of wisdom is just play, a little more play and lighten things up
Yeah.
in our lives, not taking it all so seriously. Like we are here in this human experience and for a good reason. So
Right.
even in the biggest challenges, it's still okay to lighten things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of those reasons is to have fun, you know?
I think so. I really do. I feel
Yeah.
like if we brought more play and fun in, everything would feel better, you
Yeah.
know?
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Audience,
Yeah.
as always, take from what you've heard, integrate into your life what resonates with you, and put the rest on a shelf until you're ready to deal with it. And until next time, this has been your spiritual journey.